Hello, my name is Adam Miller and I am the High Performance Manager for Soccer Nova Scotia. My role is to help high performing athletes within the province try and achieve whatever they can in the sport at the highest possible level that they can. Today's presentation is regarding the high performance programming for September 2025 through to August 2026, and hopefully the framework that will continue in the years beyond that as well. So starting with our why, our core objective in the middle of everything that we've been planning with these programs over the last 6, 7, 8 months. And what we're trying to achieve for our high performing players within Soccer Nova Scotia. And that always comes back to we want more players in professional environments. As we have seen on the screen here, that we have done a pretty good job of that over the last X number of years. Okay, but we want more, particularly as we now have more resources in our province with the Tides and with the Wanderers right in our backyard. So the next question is, how do we do that? And that's where the next little piece comes in. So we're starting with more tools. Okay, so basically, are we giving our young developing players all the tools they need to be able to reach their maximum potential? Little things like, do they know what's the best fuel to fuel their body and make sure that when they hit practices and games, they are able to perform to their absolute best? Are they getting enough sleep? Do they understand how strength and conditioning works and different periodizations? If we can educate athletes on these various smaller parts and they can add them to their lifestyles, to their games, the technical, tactical part becomes significantly easier. And they're more ready to walk into those professional environments later on down the line and be able to hit the ground running. And along the similar sort of lines is more knowledge. Now, for me, knowledge more talks about the game. So we talked about the tools and how to manage your lifestyle as a player. Now we're saying, well, how well do you understand the game? So getting into more tactical tactical roles, tactical knowledge, responsibilities. So players now actually understand the game at a deeper level, a deeper knowledge, which means that the decision making and the attributes they're trying to put on the field become a little bit easier and become a little bit more efficient. And then lastly, more eyes. You know, one of the major things that we haven't done in this province maybe over the last few number of years is showcase our athletes in the most applicable places that's going to get eyes on them, that is going to allow other people to be like, that's a player I like and I want to play for me. So our objective, we want more players in professional environments. We're going to give them more tools, we give them more knowledge, and we're going to hopefully get more eyes on them as well. And then when you look at it from that point of view, even if we manage to put, let's say, 30, 40, 50 players into an environment where they're getting those things, we still may only get 1 or 2 professional players. But everybody else who doesn't quite maybe reach that standard still has the education, the tools, and the showcasing to maybe find that next level that's just maybe a little bit below. Could be NCAA, could be U Sport, could be a college league across the country. So the objective here is if we aim for those stars, then we're definitely going to at least sort of hit the moon. To be able to achieve those goals, we need a run program. So as we'll see over the next 2 or 3 slides here, the programs that we're going to be running over the course of a single year within a high performance program at Soccer Nova Scotia. So you'll see we have 3 statuses. We have a bronze status, a silver status, and a gold status. Now those statuses aren't aligned with what's more important or what's better. They're more aligned with the expectations, the dedication, and the commitment that will be needed for each various program. So we'll start off here with the bronze status programming. On the left of the screen here, you'll see the first one, which is our U13 ID events. So for families, players, coaches that have been in Soccer Nova Scotia programs for the last few years, you have participated already likely in the U12 ID events. Okay, this will be the same process, same style, same setup, just a year older now as we align with the 2026 Canada Soccer Grassroots standards. So the way this will work, this is not a program that you register for through Soccer Nova Scotia. This is a program that you will experience through your clubs. Okay, so we invite clubs in, they select the players, they bring them in, and over the course of a weekend, we'll have an ID tournament. Okay, so you'll play other clubs as well. The difference being compared to maybe a normal tournament that you would travel to is that there will be Soccer Nova Scotia scouts there. It might be myself, could be a provincial program coach, could be somebody else as well. The objective here is to have 1 in December, 1 in March, 1 in April, and 1 in August. Now, that may change depending upon, obviously, league schedules and Soccer Nova Scotia, other programs that are being ran as well. But that is the objective. And the other objective is to have these spread around the province as well. So in the past, they've been hosted in Cape Breton, in Antigonish, in South Shore, in the Valley, so on and so forth, and of course HRM, and so on and so forth. So the objective here will be we'll spread them out a little bit, and then over the course of the year, we'll have a chance to go out and see those U13 players within their club system, with their coaches where they're comfortable, and again be able to actually have a good look at them and how they're performing and who the standouts are in those programs. Then on the right of the screen here, you'll see the college prep program. Now, really important that we put that I make it clear that this program will not be running from September 2025 to August 2026. This is a program that will be coming in later on down the line. Now, there's a number of reasons for that. We're just not quite ready to get it up and running yet. There's a couple of things happening in the background as well, which mean maybe it's not as needed this year. But this program won't be running this year, but there's a high chance it'll be running in future years. This program is aimed at U17 and U18 players, okay? And it's players that have just maybe graduated from the provincial programs as U16s, and are on the pathway maybe to playing at the university or college level. Maybe it's NCAA, maybe it's U-Sport, maybe it's CCAA programs. But this is a program that players that maybe haven't quite made that professional level yet, but they're still going to go and have success somewhere else. And we feel like we need to help support those athletes with a program that will give them games, train some best with best, and also provide them with support and advice and preparation to applying for and then attending university programs when they graduate high school at the end of grade 12. This program, like I said, there's not too much built into it yet. As you can see, there's a lot of to be decideds on the screen. Again, this is something that in a year from now, we'll have a bit more fleshed out, a little bit more details to it. So these are two bronze status programs. Players will be within their club system for both of them. And then these are almost either additional tournament or supplementary programs that support the player while they are playing within their club system. Which brings us nicely onto our silver status programming. So as you'll see here, we have two different programs within that silver status level. We have the U14 provincial program on the left, and then we have the 15-16 provincial program on the right. So again, before we go too deep here, important that we highlight the U14 provincial program as it's laid out on this document will not run that way for the 25-26 season. The reason being for that is, as you'll see in a second, this program is quite similar to the U13 provincial program we've just finished running this year. And I don't feel like that is a fair program to put that group through again. So they will be having a program the same as the 15-16 program, which we'll talk about in a second again, for this season only. So the 14 program that you can see up on the screen now will start in 26-27 season. So, U14 provincial program, aimed at under 14 players with some exceptional U13s in there as well. If exceptional 13s are on the radar, that's a conversation that I will have with the technical directors of the club. Again, making sure that those players are at a point in their development where coming into a program, a higher level program, is appropriate for their development. It's going to help them rather than hinder them. The objective of this program is to give as many players and many high-performing players as we can the opportunity to be exposed to provincial level programming, training best with best, and hopefully be better prepared to come into what I would consider a normal provincial program in a year's time. So as you'll see here, the number of selected players will be 50 plus. So if you're a player that is doing well within your club environment, you can expect to be involved in this program. If you're a player that's gone to the U13 idea event and done well, you can expect to be in this program. The U13 idea events we mentioned from the previous slide are the selection process for this program. Okay. If you're someone that maybe didn't do so well in previous years, but halfway through your under 14 year have suddenly jumped up a level, you can come in late. Okay, the point of this program isn't necessarily to go and compete and go and play tournaments and stuff like that. It's to have a training program which develops as many players as we can, expose as many players as we can to that next level and new tools so that they are better prepared for higher level provincial programs in the coming years. It will start in January or run through July, so we have 7 months there. It also means that those 7 months is a better assessment tool for myself and the other provincial coaches as we select teams at older age groups in future years. So once we get to the U15 provincial program, we should have a bunch of knowledge on players from the U13 and D events, and we should have spent a year with them in the U14 provincial program. So our expectations and knowledge of what those players are able to do should be pretty wide, pretty large, and it allows us to make better decisions and make put them in the environments that's going to help them the best. The way this 14 provincial program will work, it will work pretty similar to how the 13s has ran the previous year. There'll be a little bit more layered in as they are a year older than they are as the under 13s. The reason that we pushed it up an age is, again, to follow those Canada grassroots standards that we mentioned on the previous slide. So although the 13 program worked really, really well this year, those standards mean that we have to push it up an age. So again, now we're at the U14. It'll run similar to this year. We'll have, it'll be 1 day a month. We'll have a session in the morning, followed by a classroom, followed by another session. So 4, 5, 6 hours, a block that a player will be expected to be available. They'll come in, they'll get 2 practices, they'll do a classroom session, again, training best with best, and then there'll be topics for each weekend. 1v1 dribbling, for example, or passing forwards. Again, to open their eyes to maybe some next level concepts, expose them to some new tools like game analysis and stuff in the classroom, and again, just fully prepare them for the next level. The players would obviously still be with their clubs full time. This is only 1 day a month. And then from there, we can hopefully make better decisions going forwards for those players in those programs. And then we move into the under 15 and under 16 provincial programs. So just to be super clear again, this program has 4 different teams in it. Okay, we'll have a U15 male, a U16 male, a U15 female, and a U16 female. So although those 2 age bands are combined in the title, they are separate teams. Important to note that. And this program will run similar to how you've seen traditional provincial programs in the past. So there will be 18 players selected, 18 traveling players, and then there will be approximately 5, maybe 6, maybe 4 alternate players added in the squad as well, so that training can be done with 11v11. If players are injured, there's someone ready to step in. But as you can see, the 18 means it's going to be quite a narrow group as we start zooming in on the individual age bands at this point. The program will start in March and finish in July, so just 5 months. But the training weekends will be a bit more intense. So again, similar to how the 14 and 15 provincial program ran this year, there would be 2 sessions in the classroom on the Saturday and then a game hopefully on the Sunday. So now this whole weekend becomes a bit more of a provincial weekend rather than the provincial day that you've seen from the 14 provincial program on the left of the screen. The travel events. So we've had Atlantics in the past and there is a chance that continues, but we're going to add in a travel event as well. Again, going back to our objectives, more eyes. So us traveling to an event where we know there's going to be university coaches, where we know there's going to be pro clubs watching. It's another opportunity for us to put those players, our players, in the eye line of some of the important people in the country that have the opportunity to select these players. So there'll be at least 1 travel event, which will be a showcase of some kind where we can put our players in the shop window. And then the home event will hopefully be an Atlantics type tournament. Again, that one is still being created as we speak. But hopefully, again, getting more people in to come watch that event and more interest in it as well. And then to finish my last point here is these silver programs now become the identification events for the gold program, which we're going to get to in a second here. So if you are one of the best players within an under 14 program, an under 15 program, and a 16 program, then that's going to lead nicely into the gold status program we'll get to in a second. So we're going to be using these programs as a scouting mechanism. So rather than having tryout events, you can see now that the scouting identification process flows through one channel here. U13 ID events, if you do well there, you get selected for the U14 provincial program. U14 provincial program, you do well there, you can be selected for the 15 provincial program. You do well within the 15s, you're going to be kept in for the U16s, and so on and so forth. So now we have a pathway where we're watching the players in our environments as well as watching them in the NSSL environment too. And that leads us nicely onto our gold status programming, which will be called the XL program, formerly known as the Whitecap prospects in previous years. So as I said, you perform well in the 14 provincial program, the 15 and the 16, then that is the opportunity now to get selected for this program. Okay. Again, it's not the only way, and we'll get to the scout identification in a slide or two here. If you're doing well in your club system and within the club system as well, you also have opportunities. Okay, but this program here, the best way to get into it is to be in a provincial program and doing well. Now, this program, this is the gold status program. This one takes the most dedication, the most commitment. All right, and the reason for that is it's what we would consider a full-time program. So this is the only Soccer Nova Scotia program where players will be pulled out of their club environment. Okay, so if you are invited into this program, you will not be playing with your club. Okay, you'll be playing with Soccer Nova Scotia Excel program for the period of time of the programming. Now that will only be September through to March, so then players will be released back to their clubs for the summer season. But the winter season, you will be out of the club system. Now there's a few little extra pieces in there. For example, we will ask the players to register with their club before they join the Excel in September. That's to make sure that we're not creating super teams at the club level. And also on top of that, we'll also do our best to try and find as much time as we can that players can go back to their club environment, maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, just to stay in touch with their team and stay in touch with their club. We do think there's a lot of value, not only being used to your team and the social aspect as well, but obviously going back there for the summer, you want to keep that connection as well. So that is something that we'll be building into the program as we go through as well. Now, the point of this program is to take the best of the best, the highest potential players we can. They'll only be between 21 and 25, with 23 being the sweet spot in the middle. So there's only limited number of spots. So whereas you look at the 14s, there's 50 plus players. If you look at the 15, 16s combined, we're looking at 36, 37, 38 with alternates. This one, 23 players, okay? And it will be across the 14, 15, and 16 age bands. Now, the 14s probably have the hardest job to get into this program, just again, because the opportunities leading into it, to be scouted into it. So you're going to have to be a super exceptional under 14 to make this program. So the main target age is the U15s, mainly because that's what Canada Soccer are looking for from us as well when they do integration camps with us and they start looking for players to play at the national team level. Under 16s will stay in the program as well if they're tracking towards a professional club. But like I said, the majority of those 23 players will probably come from the 15 age, with a few exceptional U14s and then some tracking under 16s, under 16s as well. Program will start in September and end in March, so it's 6 months. Like I said, full time. There'll be at least 3 sessions a week. There'll be at least one 11-a-side match per week. There'll be at least 1 gym session, if not 2 gym sessions a week as well. There'll be at least 1 classroom session a week where we start getting into some of those tools that we talked about earlier. And then we will be looking to have 2 travel events and showcases as well. One of those will almost definitely be the Whitecaps Combine that we head to at the end of March. The second one right now, we have a few ideas that we're looking at and we're deciding on. But again, it will be a travel event again. Again, event that we can find that we can showcase the athletes in front of people that can make decisions and hopefully give our players better steps forward down their pathway as well. So this program will be intense. It's going to be 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, 3:30 to 5 o'clock on Soccer Nova Scotia indoor fields. And the expectation is that the athletes put this program first. We're going to be doing a lot as a staff to make sure that, again, we have all the pieces we need there, from physios to nutritionists to mental performance coaches to strength and conditioning coaches. Everything's going to be monitored, everything's going to be managed, and it's a chance for us coaches to see the players regularly on a daily basis, which will better allow us to influence them and hopefully develop them as people and as footballers as well. So the Gold Status program, big part of the program and a big change, I would guess, is the main piece here. But very excited to start this program off in the fall. So we touched on this a little bit over the programming as well, but I want to be super clear here with how the scouting identification works. So first things first, I'm going to skip to the bottom, opportunity number 3 first. Every time you step on a field, okay, you know, everyone has heard all the stories, you know, of professional players that were spotted kicking the ball around with their parents down the field and suddenly end up becoming one of the best players in the world. You know, they're reasonably rare, but they exist. And it's important to know, especially in a province as small as Soccer Nova Scotia, there's always someone watching. Every time you go to a game, yeah, we have all the parents there and siblings and family members and friends supporting you. But there's always someone there that maybe hasn't got somebody on the field. They just love soccer and they're there watching. There's people in this province that have been going to games for 30, 40 years. And they just love it. And so every time you step on a field, be it a practice, be it a game, okay, those moments matter. Okay, and the same thing if you're down the field with your mates. You never know when someone's watching. So every time you step on the field, have it in your mind, is someone watching? Okay, and that could be behavioral stuff that maybe you shouldn't be doing. It could be just doing the best you can from a technical, tactical standpoint. It could be anything. All right, so every time you step on the field, if you want to be in high performance programming, again, just know someone might be watching. Now, the more traditional methods, we'll start with club soccer. Okay, now this is obviously the number one way to get identified. Okay, if you are doing well within your club, then you have a pretty good chance to be on the radar for a provincial level program. Okay, now my job is to connect with the technical directors frequently, which I do. I'm always in conversations with them. So if you're impressing your coach, they're probably telling your technical director, and they're probably telling me. Okay, and that is the simplest process I can give you to how to get selected here. All right. So along those lines, if you haven't been selected and you're like, man, I'm really good, I should be selected for these programs. Your first job is to go talk to your coach, and then maybe talk to your technical director afterwards as well. But the question isn't why am I not being selected? It's, hey coach, what can I do to get better because I want to play for a provincial program? That changes the whole concept a little bit from demanding something to being like, how can I get there? And we all know the coaches, the time and effort they put in, the technical directors, how great they are, that they're going to help you try and achieve that goal. So that is always where you're going to start. Okay, if you want to make a provincial program, the first thing you need to do is impress within your club environment. And if it's not quite going the way you would like, have those conversations with those people in your development pathway, your coaches, your technical directors, who could help you get to where you want to get to. And then once you've done well in your club environment and you've been identified by the provincial programs, you are now in that system. Now, being in this system helps, okay, because obviously it's easier for us to watch you within our programs. Doesn't mean we're not watching club games. I can promise you, I go to a lot of NSSL games. Our provincial program staff go to a lot of NSSL games. Some of them coach within the leagues themselves. So again, someone's always watching. But once you are within that provincial program system, it becomes a little bit easier. So as I've outlined already, play well for your club. You get selected to go travel with your team to the U13 ID event. You do well in the U13 ID event, you get selected for the U14 provincial program. You do really, really well in the U14 provincial program, maybe you're in the XL program and the under 15 provincial program, and so on and so forth. So the provincial programs, as well as being those high performance programmings, are a program that we would use to scout the players. And on top of that, we will have university coaches. We will have professional level coaches from the Tides, from the Wanderers, from the Whitecaps, leading parts of these programs as well. So you do well within the provincial program, maybe somebody from the Tides is like, this player is fantastic, we want her to come in and join our team. Or maybe someone from the Wanderers feels the same way from a male perspective. So every time you step on the field, every time you play a practice or a game with your club, are you impressing your coach? Are you impressing your technical director? Once you're within the provincial programs, exactly the same. Are you impressing your coach? Are you impressing the staff at Soccer Nova Scotia? And this is how the scouting identification works. Okay. Now, what I'll also say, and I'll make this pretty clear when I post things later on, I am more than happy to get names emailed to me. So it could be that you play really, really well in a game, you think no one's watching, and then maybe a parent emails me and says, hey, Adam, I was at this game the other night, and this player, number 24, played really, really well, centre midfield, I think you should have a look at them. And once I get a name like that, guess what I do? I go out and watch a couple of the games from that player so I can get a little bit of a flavour of what they're like as well. So again, you're scouting, the identification. It may not feel like it, but somebody's always watching, okay? And every time you step on the field, make sure you are impressing, because someone might be watching that can help you get where you want to get to. So the next logical question is, well, what are we looking for? We can dive super deep into this and we start saying, well, centre midfielders have to be like this, and strikers have to be like this, and so on and so forth. But I want it to be more broader than that. And the reason it needs to be broader is because we don't necessarily know where the athlete will be going to next. If you're going to, let's say, Vancouver Rise, or you're going to the Halifax Tides, both of the head coaches of those academies or head coaches of those first teams might see the game in a different way. So if we as Soccer Nova Scotia start limiting our viewpoint of what we're looking for to make it too narrow, we're instantly losing certain clubs. Okay, so important that what we're looking for is quite broad, but it's also quite simple. So starting from the top, be the best player on your team. Okay, and it doesn't matter if you're playing for Canada, if you're playing for the Vancouver Whitecaps, you're playing for the Tides, you're playing for a provincial program, you're playing for your club, you're playing for minis. It doesn't matter. If you are the best player on your team, someone from a higher level program will be looking at you. And that is how naturally all sports tend to work. Okay? So your first job is be the best player on your team. And now that can't just be once in a while. Consistently be the best player in your team. If you do that over the course of a season, over the course of 6 months, a year, 2 years, again, good things are going to happen. Okay? So what I want you to be thinking about is I need to be the best player on my team. Okay, or the best player in my position on my team works as well. Okay, so first and easiest thing to do, can I be the best player on my team? But then once you've done that, a technical director, let's say, reaches out to me and says, Adam, I've got this player, the best player on the team, they're doing fantastic. My first question is always about attitude and character. Okay, now when you start talking about correlations of players that are 14, 15 years old and how many of them manage to reach the very top of the game, different factors come in. There's so many different factors that need to come together for a player to have that kind of success. It's difficult, okay? But the technical and the tactical is one part. But the one correlation that usually always exists is their attitude and their character, okay? So little things. What's their desire? What's their motivation? Are they somebody that is going down the field and working on their game on their own? Are they doing things outside of the structured football environment? Are they doing things on their own? Are they training down the pitch? Are they juggling the ball, so on and so forth? How much do they want to get better? Okay, what's their resilience like? I've just said it's really, really difficult to become a professional soccer player. It's very, very difficult to become a U Sport player, an NCAA player, a CCAA player. So you're gonna have speed bumps. How well do you react to those speed bumps? Are you someone that throws a little bit of a hissy fit and we don't see you for 2 weeks? Or are you someone that comes in the next day with ready to go again and go, okay, I'm going to prove you wrong, or I'm going to get over this mental hurdle I have, or I'm going to get through this skill that I'm not able to do? Okay, important things. Being a good teammate. Particularly the Excel program, we're going to see players 5 days a week. If you're not a good teammate, if you're not a good person, it becomes really difficult to work with you and help you achieve your goals. All right, so little things like that. And then there's a passion for it. Again, the best players tend to be the players that want to do more, that enjoy it, that are willing to watch their game tapes back, are willing to do the highlight taping, are willing to go down the field and kick a ball with their friends. And that's a passion. I love my sport and I want to do it as much as I can. I want to be the best. Okay, and now I've given you a little selection of a few there. I haven't gone through all of them, and there's also a bunch more as well. But my first question whenever someone recommends a play to me is, what's their character like? And if I get good feedback there, wow, we're flying. Okay, so I've put it in the middle on this slide, all right, but you could almost continue to consider this the most important one, okay? If you have that mentality that you are ready to get better, you're ready to do the work, you love your game, you're a good person, then you've got a pretty good chance of making a high performance program because your ability to develop and get better becomes easier. And then the last one, and this one's a little bit of a different one. I call it superpowers. And I put unique superpowers in this particular topic here. There's also players out there that right now aren't necessarily the best players on their team. Maybe they have a great character, all right, but they have a superpower which gives them something other players don't have. Maybe they can run 100 meters in 11 seconds. Maybe they're 6'6" already and they can claim crosses as a goalkeeper with ease. Maybe they're a centre-back that wins every header or wins every tackle. They're super brave. Okay, there is a literally infinite number of these superpowers that you could have. All right, but those unique superpowers, again, elevate you above the crowd. So it might be someone saying, hey, this player right now, technically and tactically, they're struggling a little bit, but they can run for literally ever. They just run and run and run and run and run. All right, and they're not bad technically, tactically. So we think there's maybe a chance for us to develop the pieces that you're missing to help with that superpower you already have. Maybe you've got that ability to just whip free kicks into the top corner every single time. Maybe that's your superpower. And we haven't quite managed to get that technical piece across to your passing and your dribbling and so on and so forth yet. They're not bad, but your ability to strike a dead ball is your key superpower. Well, okay, again, maybe as a provincial staff, we think actually they've got some of the basics. Okay, and now this superpower we can mold to help fix the other pieces as well as having that piece that makes you stand out. Okay, now I want to be super clear here. You still have to have the basics in the other corners. You still got to have the physical attributes to be able to play, technically be able to control a ball, tactical understanding, and you still need to be socially, emotionally ready. So we're not just going to take anybody that's fast or anybody that can win at headers or whatever it may be. But if you have that power that elevates you above everyone else, gives you that unique attribute, again, that's something that we're interested in. Okay, because we feel like we can help develop the other pieces to make sure that your superpower still drives you forwards, and then the other pieces now stop holding you back, let's say. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. It's pretty simple, it's pretty broad. We're looking for good people, people that want to get better, players that are the best players on their team, and players that have these unique abilities that elevate them above everybody else. Okay, so you've got a superpower, you're the best player on your team, you've been scouted, everything's going well for you, but what is the selection process? What are you waiting for? What are you looking for? Okay, so first things first, at Soccer Nova Scotia, we need to do that identification. Okay, so we create what I would call a long list, and that long list usually has about double the number of players on it that we would select eventually for our team. Okay, now that's always being added to. Okay, so again, if you're somebody that's just done really well, I've watched a match, I've gone, oh, that player's got something. I've spoken to the technical director, they've gone, yeah, they've got all the characteristics you need. Your name goes on the long list. Okay, now that long list, usually about 2 months before the start of whatever program it is, be it a provincial program, be it an Excel program, okay, gets sent to the technical directors. We say, hey, these are the players currently on our radar. And that's where we can get some feedback, okay? So the technical directors, the club coaches can say, hey, you've missed this player, which happens. Sometimes we miss players. So another player can be added to that list by the people that know you best. Maybe vice versa. Maybe it's actually that player's had a bit of a tough year. We don't think they're quite ready for it. And maybe you get removed from that list, okay? So again, going back to the club system, really important that you impress your club TDs and club coaches. All right, but what that long list does is it allows us to have conversations with the clubs, with the coaches, and say, hey, which players for you are elevated and which ones maybe aren't quite there yet, okay? And from there, we can make final decisions now. So now, not only do we have information from ourselves, from our own scouting, from our own identification, but we also have information from the club coaches and club technical directors who know these players best because they've seen them more often than us. All right, and that allows us now, about a month before the program begins, to make our final decisions. If it's an Excel program, we're picking our 23. If it's a provincial program, we're picking our 18 plus 5 alternates, and so on and so forth. About maybe even days, a month again before the start of the program, you as a player will receive an invite. Okay, it will be a letter with an invite saying, hello, congratulations, you have been offered the position in X program. Okay, and whatever that program is then up to you to make that decision whether you want to enter it or not. Now, some of them, of course, are a bit more difficult to make those decisions than others. The Excel program, for example, you know that you're going to be leaving your club environment for the next 6 months. The provincial program, is a supplementary program alongside your club practices and games. So maybe that one's a little bit easier. But you'll have a normal registration. You'll have a couple of weeks to make that decision. Again, talk to your club TDs, talk to your coaches, talk to us if you want. Make that decision internally with you and your family about what it is you want to achieve and where you think you can go with it going forwards. And then about a month later, 2 weeks to a month later, the program will begin, and then the public announcements will come out on social media. Okay, so again, we don't want to do the public announcement, and some players decide maybe it's not for them. That's okay as well. All right, but obviously we'll do the public announcement when the registration is done and the program's just started or just about to start, and we know the players that are within it. Okay, so every time you can see a program start, for example, the U14 provincial program starts in January, the selection process will be starting in November. Okay, we'll send that long list to the TDs. Actually, that's not even true. The selection process begins at the U13 events the former year. But for that particular program, the long list is sent to the club technical directors. We get feedback within a month. December time, registration starts, and then so on and so forth. And then the last piece here is the pathways. So I always like to finish with this piece because I think it adds some clarity. Okay, so the way this kind of works, and I got a little diagram here, which still is a little bit messy, but I wanted to keep it in. which kind of outlines it a little bit. But the way that pathways work, so you almost go club soccer, then you've got the high performance programs, and then those both lead off into things. Now, before we start talking about the next pieces, I want to be super clear here. Although I am, running these Soccer Nova Scotia high performance programmings, and it is my job, I'm not going to sit here and say the only way to become a professional, the only way to go to U Sport or NCAA is through our programming. That's not true. Okay, the clubs do a great job, and ultimately every player is a little bit different. Okay, and if you're a player that feels like in your club environment is the best place for you to become the best version of yourself, then, well, I fully support that first and foremost, and I'll still help however I can from behind the scenes. Maybe it's a phone call here or some help with an email. It doesn't matter. Like, my job isn't to try and get you into my programs. My job is to help you achieve what you want to achieve, if that kind of makes sense. So if you make that decision, you have my full support. I want to be super clear on that. It's not a be-all and end-all. It's this is another program that's running that we would say that would be good for you. But again, you know yourself better. What's better for you? Okay. So coming back to the pathways here. And again, it seems very linear. You'll see it as I talk through it here, but it's not linear. And I'll mention a couple of examples at the end here. Okay, but standard-based youth clubs goes into provincial programming, which goes into Excel programming. So it goes club, provincial, Excel is kind of the pathway. And then from Excel, we have Rex integrations, which particularly on the male side right now, but the female side may be starting up with that at some point in the future. Those are chances for national team coaches to see you, so that happens once a year. All right, and then it feeds into multiple different programs. You could go straight into a professional academy, a Tides, a Wanderers, a Whitecaps. That could be a pathway for you, going from the Excel into one of those programs. You could end up going through U Sport or NCAA or the CCAA. And again, there's examples of professional players who have been through all three of those different pathways, be it NCAA, be it through U Sport, be it through CCAA, and gone on to have good professional careers as well. Maybe you get picked up by an MLS club, a Whitecaps or a TFC, and then you go through their processes, where you've got MLS Next Pro, and then you try and make their first team. So my point, I guess, here is that there isn't a direct route here, and you'll find that there are players that have done every route imaginable, every pathway imaginable. Jonathan David is a good example for the men's national team right now. He did not take part in any Ontario. From Ontario, didn't take part in any provincial level programming, stayed with his club. And then when he was 16, 17, he actually moved to Belgium. And then his professional career has gone through there, and he's just literally signed with Juventus in the last few days. So he didn't do provincial programming. He trusted his club. He felt his club was his best environment, and he's had a ton of success. You have examples of people that have gone through that process and through the pathway as it's currently aligned, and then had great success at the national team. I've had quite a few of them. I would say maybe half of them have gone through that kind of process that you would expect traditionally. There's also players that have not quite made professional level teams. They haven't gone through a professional academy. They've gone straight to U Sport. And then from U Sport, they've done really, really well and picked up a CPL contract and started playing for the national team at the professional level and gone to the MLS. On the female side, players are playing in the NSL right now who are playing on national teams, including for Canada, such as Emma Regan. Okay, so while I think the most important part here is to know that what the options are, not necessarily think of it as the pathway. Even though that's the name, it makes it sound like there's one way of going through things. Instead, I want to make it super clear, these are options. They're all different options, and they're all different ways that you could achieve what it is that you want to achieve. And obviously through the high performance programming, we will do our best to support you through that as well. And we do feel like we have that knowledge and expertise to be able to help you achieve that as well, which is why we run the programming. But again, it's not the only way to run things. And that brings us to the end today. So I really appreciate your time. Hopefully the information was useful and will help me give you clarity on what's happening over the next little bit here with Soccer Nova Scotia High Performance Programming. Up on the screen right now, you'll see my email address. I'm pretty good with emails. If you do have questions or you do want to contact me and talk to me about things, please shoot me an email. If it does need to be a phone call or you prefer to meet in person, I'm usually okay with that as well. But send me the email first. We'll find a time to connect and have those discussions as well. But yeah, enjoy this rest of the summer. We look forward to selecting the Excel program in the next few weeks here. Obviously, I'll be watching a lot of NSSL games over the next couple of months. Good luck with the rest of your seasons. I look forward to seeing you around the field, and thank you very much.